It's Tottenham versus Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League. Pressure on Thomas Frank, expected still to lose his job. He is, however, also expected to take charge of this game. So, yeah, we're talking all things about this game from my thoughts. We briefly discussed Dortmund, predicted lineup, preferable lineup, and score. Tough game for Tottenham. So many of our players are either injured or suspended. Literally 13 to 15 players could be unavailable for Tottenham in this game. Some we definitely know, and some are a doubt. So stay tuned till the very end. As always, be as professional, honest, and balanced as possible. Keen to get you involved as well. What's happening, people? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, please do like and subscribe. So it's not looking good for Tottenham. Firstly, on the Danes' future, because this is important. David Alstein for The Athletic, close to time of recording, said that Thomas Frank has taken the press conference and training sessions before Tottenham host Borussia Dortmund. He's expected to continue in charge for the Champions League game despite growing uncertainty over the 52-year-old's role as Tottenham head coach. But it looks like after Dortmund, his future is uncertain, with lots of people even saying decisions been made, but they still have that Dortmund game. I mean, part of me thinks that's right because we're so close to the game, and would a change of manager now be too late? That's the problem. If you're going to do it, they probably had to do it on Sunday or Saturday night, even, if we go back a little bit earlier. But it could be a really nasty ending to Thomas Frank with what's been a painful and miserable 7 months for the Dane at Tottenham. Because if I bring it up on screen, injury news, then there are these players are out, and there's some more that are even down. So here's the current status of the Tottenham squad. So Van der Ven suspended. Dragusin's ineligible. Gallagher's ineligible. Basuma's ineligible. Solanke's ineligible. All those top 4 players, apart from Van der Ven, are available, but they're not available in this game, if that makes sense, because they haven't been registered. Davis is injured. Paulini is a doubt, but likely injured. Bentancur's injured. Madison, Kudus, Kulusevski, Richarlison, Sarr through AFCON. I mean, he was too close of a turnaround, A, but B, he's also taken to hospital and removed from the substitute bench because he fell quite ill, apparently. And to add to that, Xavi Simons was saw limping in the mixed zone, is expected to potentially miss this. It's expected to be a doubt anyway, and Gray could also miss this one. By the time this video gets to you, we might know a lot more, but again, at the time of recording, that is what's out. So 15 players at the moment, with 13 listed on screen, could be unavailable. I mean, the academy, when are you going to use it? If you've got this many players unavailable and you're not turning to that for me would show a lack of trust in the academy. And that's such a big game against such a good opponent. For example, briefly on Dortmund, they've lost just one game this year. They sit second. They're a top side. There's no doubt about that. They comes on leaps and bounds, and they've been really impressive. I didn't realize quite how impressive if you have a look. So it's going to be tough for Tottenham. It's tough anyway because we're playing turgid football. We're really struggling for performances, but in particular struggling for results. And I just think that, with the players we've got out, this could be really nasty. It could be really horrible. Being at home as well, it could turn toxic. It would be good. The atmosphere, of course, to begin with, I'm sure, being this significant game, a lot of people wanted to go to this one, but I'm not looking forward to it because I know how good Dortmund are and the players who've got unavailable. And if you're someone like Dane Scarlett in particular, that's been around the club for a few years, still young, but been around the club for a few years, when else are you going to get an opportunity in his eyes when Richarlison's injured? Moani looks terrible. Solanke's ineligible. Tell's not playing in the striker position. When else are you going to get minutes? If I'm him, I'd be thinking it's now or never, simple as that. And I'd be keen to at least on the bench and bring off the bench players that can at least say Dane Scarlett, players like this, because we've got to rely on them in this game realistically. Lucas Bergwijn, again, expected to be okay, but you just don't know. That midfield is just so hard to play. So this one was difficult, but here would be my lineup. So I read it out, talk you through it. Vicario in goal, Spence at right back, Doggy at left back, Romero and Danso as the centre backs. A midfield of Bergvall, Gray, and Xavi Simons, and a front line of Odebear, Scarlett, and Tell. So I was tempted to play Kinski in goal, but I don't think this will be necessary in this type of game to make a change in goal. And I'm not saying that Kinski's better than Vicario, but at the same time, Vicario plays every game. And like with Porro, we see mistakes in there when they play every week. And Vicario disappointed me again against West Ham. We didn't command his box. I would give Porro, whatever you want to call it, drop in rest. It's up to you. Either way, he's playing every game and he's making mistakes defensively. He looks very good going forward defensively, but I'll take him out of the team for now while we've got a Doggy back. So that's my thinking behind that. Van der Ven being suspended is a bummer because, of course, you've got someone that, is prolific and his pace is so key. Of course, can step into left back if needed. Some suggestions put Romero in midfield if the likes of Gray and Bergvall, in particular Gray, don't make the game. I think that's, understandable. to suggest that, believe it or not, because Romero is progressive passes and the control, he always steps up into midfield anyway. But then I thought we're going to have to really put Gray at centre backs because Drugson's ineligible. So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. There's a problem either way that comes off it. So if Gray is out, then it makes it difficult, put it that way, to select my team. The natural option would be Sarr. I think will be a definite no. If he's a 50-50, you maybe take the risk. If not, Callum Elise for me will come in that midfield for Archie Gray. Gallagher ineligible, and all the players have got out. Palini, if he can somehow make it again, I doubt it. Then the front line, then you'll notice there is no Rando Colomwani. The big shouts to this team. There's no Moani and there's no Porro. And with Moani, I just find him frustrating. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but I don't think he's really got going in a top shot. Doesn't score many goals. I don't remember him scoring a home goal or a league goal, and that's the frustrating thing. So Dane Scarlett for me is a perfect opportunity to start him, and I just think throw him in there. And a lot of people go, oh, he's washed up, he's not good enough. But how do we know? Whenever Scarlett's come on, like Copenhagen, a good example, when he's got the opportunity, he's delivered in my eyes. So show some trust in the academy. I really wanted to put Tal in the striker position because there's reports saying that, he'd be tempted anyway to join Paris FC on loan, although he loves Tottenham and everything, because, and he's committed. But the point is, he wants to play in the striker position. He wants more minutes. So we have to give him all the minutes. I want to play in that striker position, but realistically, who plays on the left? Xavi Simons, and then Callum Elise in midfield. I did think about that. So that would be my team, down to the bare bones, but that team is still hopefully strong enough to put in a performance if I'm hoping. I think Thomas Frank will mix it up a little bit. I think he sticks to his 4-2-3-1 formation as we move into the predicted lineup here, which is basically predict Frank. First team is what I would do. Reminder, that's what I would do if I was Tottenham's manager. Go to the 4-3-3. Again, it's more defensive a little bit, but I just think two midfielders in front of the back line just isn't working. We're too open, and a big problem under Frank is we allow too many shots from outside the box, because that's a tactics problem, right? Frank views shots from outside the box as a low percentage chance, and Tottenham have always in recent years conceded goals outside the box, and under Frank, he doesn't see a problem with that. I have a problem with it, so I put three midfielders in there and just say stop the shots from outside the box, press, close them down. This is what I think Frank will go with. I think he'll stick to his formation. I think he'll also, believe it or not, give Porro a rest. First time in goodness knows how long. I think Porro's only been rested for one game, if I remember correctly, this year. So I think Frank will go with the same back line. I think he'll play Bergwijn, Gray in midfield, which I would like to see. I like them both. I think they work well together. Of course, close friends off the pitch, and they have a good understanding on the pitch as well. I think he will play Rando Colomwani. He seems to like Colomwani. I don't think he'll play Dane Scarlett. I'd be very surprised if he plays Dane Scarlett. However, I think there'd be a bit of a rejig of the front line, because Frank will know right now that he says that things are close against West Ham, but he will know we can't have a result like that, and we can't be playing like that too often at all. I think he'll keep Odobel on the right. He seems to like him there. Mwani up top is the obvious one. I think Frank's realised that Mwani's was, awful on that left-hand side. And I'm not surprised as a striker. Stop playing him at left wing. I was worried when we signed him that we'd play him as a left wing, and we've done that a little bit. Some we've been forced to, would argue. But I think he played Tal in the 10. He has done before. I think it was Man United where he got a draw, come off the bench. He played in the 10. I think put Xavi on that left, because Simons in the 10 against West Ham was just awful with his passing, his touch, which won't improve on the left-hand side. But I just think Frank will go with a little bit of a rejig. If it's not working, I'd love the saying, if it's not broken, don't fix it. But right now it's really broken for Tottenham, so he's got to fix it to flip it on his head. Then score prediction then. Anyone that knows me or watches my content, I'm glass half full. With this manager, and with things in general, Tottenham are in dire state right now. I say it now, we are rotten to the core. I've been open and honest. I think we're a mid-table club without an identity. So all these things are negative. But deep down, I still think it wouldn't surprise me if we've done a Tottenham thing and put in a really good performance against Dortmund, somehow win the game or get a draw and Frank stays in the job. But I wouldn't put it past Tottenham and Thomas Frank to do so. If I'm being honest to myself, I'm just so scared defensively without Van der Ven and not without a midfield to protect it. I think we score goals going forward but concede a lot. I'm going to go with a 4-2 to Borussia Dortmund, which of course will be bruising, and I think Thomas Frank will be sacked as a result. I pride myself on my content in honesty. I like to be positive. Although I have issues with the club, I deep down, believe hopefully good times will come back. So I've got to get that balance right where I don't lie, I don't say things. I'd love to sit and go 2-1 Spurs, be a kind of really positive, or what some people would call a happy clapper, which have been called in the past. But I cannot lie to myself. I've never been able to do it in my life. I cannot do it with my content. I cannot honestly right now sit here and say, I think Tottenham will get a result against Borussia Dortmund. It'd be disrespectful to Dortmund. It'd be disrespectful to the club, because we're not in the position to do so right now, realistically. With the players injured, unavailable, with this manager, who I was his most patient and loyal supporter, West Ham for me was the end. It really made me reevaluate and reconsider my position, because I didn't deep down think we'd lose to West Ham. I had a sneaky feeling we'd drop points and draw, but I didn't think we'd lose. And when you hear things like Frank thinks we're really close to turning it around, I find that really concerning. So I wanted Frank to have these players back, but in reality, I think he's not the main problem. He's part of the problem and has to go. I think whatever happens, he'll probably go. If we draw or lose, I think he'll go. And that's the thing. Is there any point keeping someone in charge if you think they're going to go? There'd only be any point keeping Thomas Frank in charge if you believe deep down, that if you get a result, or it'd be different. If you plan to sack him after anyway, there's no point. But we'll have to see what happens. Maybe this new John Hetner, that we've got the assistant coach comes in on an interim basis till the end of the year. That's what would be favourable to do. But I'll stop waffling. Those are my thoughts. Predicted lineup, prep or lineup, score prediction. Get involved in the comments below, whether you're a Tottenham fan, Dortmund fan, or neutral. Thanks for watching. If you're new, please subscribe. Appreciate all the support. We're going strong as we start 2026. Let's continue this momentum. And reminder, it's all about giving people with learning disabilities an opportunity. It's all about getting fans on from all around the world, being honest, being professional, having a sensible conversation. Also with the Premier League podcast, interviewing, fans of other clubs, have a sensible conversation. There's a lot of delusion, a toxicity, politics in football. Trying to end that and be sensible together. Thank you for your support and a massive come on, you Spurs. I'd love to be surprised in this game. Don't put it past Tottenham. Spursy, after all.